welcome to the Lezlie Show. Woo, we're going to have an awesome show today. We are going to be talking about revitalizing your life. Your body is much like a car. If you don't maintain your car, you don't change the tires, you don't get it serviced, what's going to happen? Your car is going to fall apart, right? Just like your body. It's important to tune your body up as well. So today we have Dr. Egbert from Dr. Egbert's Family Chiropractic, and we also have a practitioner of structural integration with us today, Leo. So let's get the ball rolling. Hi, and welcome, Dr. Egbert.
Thank you.
It's so nice to have you on the show today.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I know how busy you are, and you made time for the show, so we really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
But anyway, let's hear about chiropractic. How did you get into chiropractic anyway? Did you have any issues and you thought, well, I need to get into chiropractic, or how did that work for you?
Well, that could be a very long story, but I'll give you the brief version of it. When I was very young, I was 5, I was wrestling with a friend in front of the school, and I was pushed off of a retaining wall, landing flat on my back on the sidewalk, which actually resulted in a fracture to my lumbar spine. However, I didn't know that that's what had happened, and it wasn't until about 10 years later when I saw a chiropractor that it was properly diagnosed, and I got relief from the injury at that point.
Okay. Well, how did chiropractic start in the first place? Can you tell me about the first patient that started up the chiropractic in the first place?
Sure, yeah. So D.D. Palmer was the discoverer of chiropractic, and it was in 1895 specifically, that he was interested in different healing potentials in the body. And he had an office in a building where there was a janitor who was deaf. And so he got to talking, and communicating with this janitor, and it happened that his hearing was normal until he had fallen down a flight of stairs and injured his neck. And so D.D. Palmer, upon examining his neck, found some areas where the vertebrae were misaligned. And as those vertebrae were misaligned, he wondered if that was correlating to the lack of ability to hear. And so he asked this gentleman, Harvey Lillard was his name, if he could move the vertebrae back in his neck in such a way that they might function better. And when he did so, he regained normal hearing over the course of a few days.
Gee, that's amazing.
Yeah, and so at first he thought that he had discovered the cure for all the hearing impaired, all the deafness that existed. And so he started treating people for that, started advertising and got a line of people around the block. And it was interesting because those people didn't receive the same recovery that first patient did. But he noticed that they started to get better from lots of other things, like headaches and neck pain and back pain and other abdominal and visceral organ malfunction. And so that's how chiropractic was kind of discovered, that when we align the spine and we correct those malfunctions of the nervous system, that the body starts to heal and function on its own.
Oh boy, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. How long has chiropractic been in existence?
Well, 1895 was when it
1895.
Was first discovered, so 120 something years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've read that the brain, if you ask a person, where is your brain? Most people would say your brain is here, but I've actually read that your brain, everywhere there's a neuron, your brain exists. So in other words, your brain exists through the whole body. And so if this is the case, I've also read that your brain communicates to your spinal nervous system through your spinal column. So is that right? Or if you could explain that?
Sure. So the brain is, the master system in the body. The central nervous system is what controls and coordinates all the functions of the whole body. And the way that happens is the brain sends signals down your spinal cord, and it sends it out to all the different parts and organs of your body to make sure that they're functioning as they should. that's where the intelligence in the body exists, in that system. So if your kidneys are supposed to be doing something specific, the brain controls what they do. The liver, the pancreas, all of those things need to be coordinated through the master controller, which is the brain. And if it's not, and they do their own thing, sometimes that causes problems with that organ system, and it may fail. So as a chiropractor, we look for that neural integrity to exist throughout the body. If the nerves as they exit the spine get irritated or pinched, it can cause those different systems in the body to malfunction and give you different symptoms. But that's a great question, because chiropractic care has been successful at treating lots of things like headaches and neck pain and low back pain, sciatica, arm numbness, tingling, carpal tunnel-like symptoms. But what a lot of people don't understand or haven't had experience with is other organ systems that function better with proper chiropractic care and spinal integrity.
I know. That's why I had you on the show. I have a daughter, and she had colic for 6 months. And if anybody's had a child with colic, they know that you don't get any sleep at all. It's kind of a nightmare. Yeah. And I had somebody tell me to take my daughter to a chiropractor. I thought, why would I take my daughter to a chiropractor for colic? It sounded ridiculous. But I did. I took my daughter, she was 6 months old, to a chiropractor, and in one visit, she didn't have her colic anymore. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, really remarkable.
It really is. And then a friend of mine, her husband, had a nervous breakdown. And he couldn't work for like a year. He had anxiety and he had depression. And she was telling me that her husband went to a chiropractor for depression and anxiety. I'd never heard of such a thing. And sure enough, it wasn't one visit that helped, but he went every week for about 2 months, and he started feeling emotionally and mentally better from chiropractic. And that's why I'm having you on the show, because I think most people think, oh, my neck hurts, my lower back hurts, I need a chiropractor. But actually, chiropractic is for digestive issues. It's for, people that suffer from depression, anxiety. I even think like panic attacks, or all different things, right?
Yeah. And when I first became interested in chiropractic, all I knew about it was that my back hurt and it felt better when I saw the chiropractor. I was able to play sports and do things that I needed to do and wanted to do. And it wasn't until many years later, when I actually went to chiropractic school, that I started to understand there's much more to it than that. And certainly, some of those things you described, depression, anxiety, those different things, they can have multiple causes. Chiropractic isn't the cure for all of those things, but in some cases, when your spine is injured or you have a lot of tension in there, it can block the regular neurology that regulates some of our hormones and some of our emotions. And by removing that interference from the nervous system, a lot of people get better.
I personally, am into the more natural approach. A person could just, if they have a digestive issue or a headache, or just take a pill or an easy fix. But I'm feeling it's much better and safer on the body to try natural alternatives.
Sure. Yeah, I think if we can support the body and help the body to heal itself, simply remove the interference that exists, then it gives the body a chance to recover and do what it so wonderfully does most of the time. When we have those small areas of interference where a nerve gets pinched, then the body may need a little bit of help to get back on track.
Right.
But if we can do that without drugs or surgery, certainly would be a best first option.
Absolutely. Well, how many years have you been practicing chiropractic?
Well, I've been in practice almost 14 years now.
Oh, 14 years. Okay. Now, I'm feeling that you work a lot with children as well as adults. Is that right?
I do. And I suppose that's in part because I saw a chiropractor when I was very young. And so I have a real passion for that, because I had some doctors, both chiropractors and medical doctors, that didn't take my injury or my symptoms very seriously. In fact, nobody x-rayed my broken lumbar vertebrae for 10 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that's
pretty amazing, right?
That's bad.
And so I take the childhood injuries a little more seriously than maybe others would, because I want to make sure that we're not missing something.
Right.
And if there's something I can do to help improve the quality of life of a child, then I feel like I'm paying back the care that was given to me.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank
So
you.
is there anything else you want to add before we leave here, or?
It's been my pleasure. I'm always happy to talk about healthy alternatives and things that people can do to support their bodies and get the function back and the quality of life that they are looking for. If we can do that naturally, that's a win.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Welcome, Leo.
Hi,
Thanks
how are
for
you
being
doing?
on the show today.
Thank you for having me here.
So you're a practitioner of structural integration, correct?
Yes, I am.
Well, for our audience's sake, can you explain to us what that exactly means?
Well, structural integration is a very interesting system and unique in its kind. So with structural integration sessions, we're trying to get people in a line with the force of gravities, because we're always affected by the force that's pulling us towards the ground, and mostly we're not aware of it and of its effects. So we're trying to re-educate people and physically change the lines of tension.
Okay.
Overall.
Well, how did you personally get involved with structural integration?
Well, it is a long story, but making it short, when I first moved to the United States, I went to massage college, and I love working with people and interacting with human beings and sharing the ability to do something, to heal something, to improve the functionality of the body or the health in the holistic way. So, and doing massage for about 5 years, mostly in the chiropractic settings, I slowly realized that the problems that we try to deal with doing massage and other manipulative techniques, most of the time they don't last for a long time. And I started to look for different ideas or ways to affect the body so it can last for much longer time.
Okay. Well, wasn't Ida Rolf the one that started the structural integration?
Yes, exactly. Ida Rolf was a founder of structural integration, and her pioneering ideas really brought light to a lot of questions that we've been trying to answer for a long time.
Well, it's working basically with the fascia tissue, right?
Exactly.
And so if maybe you could explain that to our audience, what fascia tissue is, how you work with the fascia tissue.
Yes, at the beginning, that was kind of the reason why I got to the structural integration, because working with the muscles, trying to pump the muscles, to push the toxins out of them, that's what we're doing with massage. It brings the effect kind of like a car wash. You're washing away all the toxins from the body, but it doesn't change the structure of the body and how it moves and interacts in the world. So the fascia is the element that's holding the whole body together. It's the connective tissue that's holding your organs, that's holding your muscles, it's holding the muscles together. It's attaching the muscles to the bones, and it goes all the way from the toes all the way to the head. So when muscle is tight for a long time, for months, 2 months, 3 months, it starts to calcify. It kind of like creates a cast around the muscle, between the muscles. So we can't release this tension anymore with massage techniques. So we need to go and do the special application that's called myofascial release.
Okay.
When we work with the fascia and in the muscle as well.
Okay. can you tell us how many sessions you would need, and is this like a deep pressure? Is it kind of light, or how is the pressure when you do this? I'm assuming you kind of call it a type of massage, right? Or am I wrong?
Well, there is a big difference between massage and structural integration. First of all, in its basis. In structural integration, like I said, we have a different understanding of the goal of the sessions, or the goal that we need to achieve with the person. With massage, it's very localized. We work on the area. You come to my practice and you say, it hurts here. Please massage somewhere there. And I go and massage, and that's what I've been doing for a long time. But, you know, when people come over and over again, they get better for a few weeks, but then this pain comes back again. And working under structural integration rules, I see where this problem is originating. Maybe it is in a different spot. Maybe it's somewhere at the heel where a person doesn't have support.
Okay.
The pressure really varies. It depends on the level of the tissue that we're working with. It starts with the most superficial, because fascia covers the whole body. It covers every cell, everything in the body. And it goes deeper. We have special protocol that we do. We start with uncovering, realigning the superficial structures first. So we work with the muscles kind of superficially on the surface. And then we go to the deeper structures, the structures that are supporting our posture, that are holding us. And they're usually referred as core structures.
Okay. And how many sessions would you recommend?
Usually it depends on the person and their goals. When a person comes to me for an assessment, we check the range of motion, we check the mobility, we assess the gait, and we create a plan. And the plan usually starts anything from 1 or 3 sessions. 3 sessions is when we work with superficial structures, when we complete this 360 of the whole body, but outside. If person wants to go and work with the whole sessions, which is 12 sessions, then we divide it into, like I said, first 3 sessions are superficial structures. Next 4 sessions is working with the core, and last sessions are realigning everything back to the position, to the new orientation of the body.
Okay. About 25 years ago, I had Rolfing done, and the reason I went was I felt like a hypochondriac. It was, my head hurt, then the next week my stomach hurt, then this hurt, that hurt, everything was bothering me, and somebody suggested going to a Rolfer. So I tried it, and it was really enlightening. To make a long story short, I didn't have all these issues that I once had. What it worked on for me was emotional issues. My father had passed away, and I never really grieved my father's death. I just went about my business and never really dealt with it. So the feelings were still inside of my body that I had never dealt with. So the first 8 sessions, I thought, well, this is nice, but nothing really happened. And then after the 10th session, oh my gosh, it was all in my solar plexus where I was carrying this emotional tension, and it just, it all came out of me like an ocean. And I didn't even know I was storing all this nervous tension. But what I realized is sometimes your emotions can cause physical ailments such as digestive problems, headaches, all kinds of problems, unresolved emotional issues. So the Rolfing made me deal with it, and it was 3 days of hardcore dealing with it. And I was really glad I did it, because after that, my headaches went away, my stomach issues went away. I felt really, really good. So I definitely advocate people having Rolfing done. Now, have you had many people in your practice have these type of things happen like I'm telling you?
Yes, absolutely. It is a part of our practice because we're not psychotherapists or in this profession, we don't concentrate or deal with this kind of orientation, but at the same time, we keep it in mind that the body stores the tension, and we can see it, right? We can see the posture, we can see the posture of the grief, we can see the posture of the happiness, right? If we're happy, you can't say, I am happy, okay? No, you gotta embody it, right?
Yeah.
I am happy.
Yeah.
And if you're sad, you can't say, I'm sad. No, you say, I'm sad. And when people get stuck in this position, they can open it up, right? So with structural integration, we go to the chronic restrictions. Like I said, usually they're buried in the deep structures. And we help people to open it up. And then it gets to the surface where they can either analyze it or get back to the old patterns. It's all up to them, but we get this initial movement happening.
Okay, awesome. I think it's better than taking medication, right?
Yes, for sure. It is safer always to work with the right professional, but sometimes people don't need medications after our sessions. It all depends.
So, Leo, how about a demonstration?
Absolutely, let's go.
All right.
So, structural integration process starts with the general assessment of the whole body. We look at the position of the shoulders, hips, knees, and feet on the our model. And the first session that we do is oriented around the breathing work, working with the rib cage and the head, and in general all the lines starting with the feet and going all the way up to the head, and we call it superficial front line. The most common problem in our age is that we sit in front of the computer for a long time, right? And it results with the tightness of the front line. So we have a lot of tightness build up in our chest area. It affects our breathing, it affects our neck, it results headaches and everything else, right? So we start with elongating all of these structures, bringing them up using myofascial release techniques. We work always on the table, on the fascia itself, on the structure. We will work on the superficial backline, starting with the heels, going through the gastrocnemius muscles, through the hamstring muscles, through the erector spinae muscles, the most tight spot of the body, going to the head. Why is that? So first session, we're lifting everything up. The second session, we're grounding the body down. All right? Third session, what do we have left is we are working with the sides. It is our ability to rotate and side bend as well is very important in the function of movement as well. Then we start the fourth session, which is we're working with the spiral line. The spiral line goes all over the body, starting with the feet. It goes through the leg towards the other side of the body and ends at the head. So the person actually coming with the problem on the left side, right? But it's all started maybe at their right heel, where they don't really start looking for the problem, right? So after we realign the superficial structures, superficial fascia, we work with the core. The core starts with the heels. It runs inside the leg, through the adductors, through the psoas muscles. These are the muscles that are all the way down at our spine. They create the balance the balance of the back, and everything goes to the diaphragm, to the head, to the neck. These are the structures that create our core. They create our support. Anywhere we stand, we go either left or right, we use these muscles as a support. Very often we can see the misalignment of this line as flat feet or supinated feet. We're either walking on the outside of the feet or on the inside of the feet. Also, it can be diagnosed as anteriorly tilted hip or posteriorly tilted hip. And again, this is the very core of the sessions. Then, after we got all the structures, all the fascial, myofascial structures realigned, we start to integrate the body back. So last 4 sessions, we work on the gait, how people move, how the force of the gravity is coming through them. The first integration session is about integrating the upper part. Second integration session is about lower part of the body. And the third, we align everything with the spine. So for the myofascial release, we don't use the lotion, we use special wax. It prevents the slipping part because we don't want to wrap the tissue, we just want to connect to it. And we're gonna start with working on Kathleen's trapezius muscle. And Kathleen, I'm gonna ask you to turn your head to the left. And while Kathleen is turning her head, I'm bringing her fascia down and laterally bringing and reeducating its natural position. And go ahead, Kathleen, bring your head straight back again. Okay, and for sure we would do the same thing on the other side. Go ahead, turn to the right side. All right, and back. All right, and now we're gonna do the technique that's called a back stripe. Our model here is gonna bring the head slowly down, and we will work on the erector spinae muscles, because most of the time we have all of these muscles and fascia brought up. Kathleen, go ahead, go all the way up, because when we sit, if you imagine all the back muscles as my short, they slip forward, right? So with this technique, we make sure that all these superficial structures go back to their original alignment. Okay, Kathleen, go ahead, bring your head forward and tucking the chin. Great. Going back, and I will ask Kathleen to go a little bit slower while I reconnect to the other side. Okay, and we're gonna start again. And for sure the pressure varies, depends on the session, what session we're doing, and the need of a client. All right, and very slowly, starting with the lower back, we're going up, and then the sternum goes up, and then the whole head. So after this work, and we do this 3 or 4 times, then all of these muscles, they're brought back, they're gonna reconnect and give you support when you're sitting up.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I sure appreciate it. And it's been a pleasure to meet you as well, Kathleen. Thank you.
Thank you, Lezlie.